going on, Jerome's? Your Minnesota Fine Vikings have a dynamic tight end duo in TJ Hockenson, as well as jumping Josh Oliver, the best blocking tight end in the game. But there's no one else. There's literally no one else on the 90-man rooster right now at tight end. Now, obviously, they can backfill it in free agency or UDFAs, but there could and should be a couple of interesting names in the draft and for tight end. And even though the Vikings don't have a ton of draft picks, we're going to forecast a tight end for every single round for the Vikings. And it's an interesting draft class because you have basically oversized receivers or you got dogs. You just got absolute dogs. So diving on in, first round, Colston, Loveland, the pride of Michigan. Yes, we will make this happen. J.J. McCarthy, Colston, Loveland, was his favorite targets during their national title run in 2023. He's 6'5", 248. Last year without McCarthy, 56 for 582 and 5 touchdowns. Fought through a pretty gnarly AC dislocation injury. Only missed one game. So tough-ass kid. Grew up in rural Idaho on a farm, and it just brings it, man. Premium route runner, very soft hands, good after the catch. And I think that... So TBD what happens with the future of Hockenson and Oliver. I think that Hockenson will bounce back and rebound. I think Oliver is a great blocking tight end that should keep him in the fold. But if you want J.J. McCarthy to have a over-the-middle target that he's obviously very comfortable with, I don't know if they take a tight end 24, but you never know. Things get crazy. Second round, so Elijah Arroyo, not Arroyo, like baseball, Arroyo. So at the University of Miami, that's just the U being the U. He's 6'4", 245, and he's a great move, a tight end. He gives effort in blocking. Cristobal obviously demands that, but he's not a great natural blocker. It's something that's going to have to be worked on. Great at yards after the catch. One of those favorite targets of Cam Ward. Well, Restrepo and Arroyo were basically the Miami Hurricanes passing game. It was great. 35 catches for 590 yards, 7 touchdowns last season as Miami bounced back, had a great season. So Arroyo could be available in the second round. Third round, so Mason Taylor. Now, you could say, well, I have Taylor above Arroyo. It's fine. Relatively interchangeable. Day 2. We'll just say day 2. So Mason Taylor, nephew of Joy Taylor, also son of Hall of Famer Jason Taylor. What was it, nephew? I think nephew of Zach Taylor, a Hall of Fame linebacker. So he's got the NFL genetics going on, which is fantastic. He's 6'5", 251. Skull SU. The pipeline is back in action. Career 129 catches, 1,308 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns. Now, that's for his career. If that was in one season, that'd be a record or something. But 55 catches last year, 2 touchdowns. Decent blocker, 4'6", 440. Tests up pretty nicely. And I think that Taylor could and should be an asset down the line. I think eventually he'll be a team's tight end 1. Into the fourth round, day 3. So one of my favorite guys, and it's a player that doesn't make any sense. So Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green, small school, Maction, all that stuff, and just broke records last year. 117 catches, 1,555 yards receiving, 10 touchdowns, which is good. Also, played well in big-time spots against better out-of-conference competition. But Fannin's weird. So he's small, he's light at 6'3", 241. I don't know, obviously he didn't test well. He had a decent floor, still had a 7+ RAS, but is he going to be able to run away from NFL defenders? Is he going to be the matchup problem that he was in college? Don't know, but elite hands, great contact balance. We said before he kind of runs like Mo Schrute. So the hips are static, but the arms are pumping. Don't know, but Fannin's interesting because if he lands in the right spot, I think that he could be an asset. If you're leaning on him to be your tight end 1, I think that you could have a problem. But if you have him as a tight end 2 or 3, and as well as a third, fourth, fifth option in the passing game, I think that he could surprise a lot of people. I don't think people see him coming. Next, 5th round, Jackson Hawes, the pride of Georgia Tech. So the former Yale Bulldog. He's got that dog in him, literally. Transferred to Georgia Tech. And receiving numbers-wise, they're not huge. 16 catches for 195 yards last year. And even at Yale, he didn't put up monster receiving numbers. But what he brings is a blue-collar blocking work ethic. He is... I know this is borderline sacrilegious to say, but could he be the reincarnate of jumping Jim Kleinsasser, the pride of North Dakota? It's possible, man. But Hawes, 6'4", 260. I think he's the best blocking tight end in the class, and he could be that true tight end, fullback, H-back, just physicality, chippiness. Anything you get as a receiver is extra, right? So I think that if the Vikings don't plan on retaining Josh Oliver, I think that he would be a great one-for-one replacement as that blocking tight end too. Yeah. Next, 6th round, Jalen Conyers. So he's super interesting. Bit of a wildcat quarterback. Took snaps at Arizona State, a couple at Texas Tech, but he does bring a really interesting dynamic skill set. Originally was at Oklahoma State, then transferred to Arizona State, and then Texas Tech. 6'3", 260, 30 catches, 320 yards receiving, 5 touchdowns last year, 4.7, 4.40. Great in the jumps, great in agility drills as well. Good speed, good ball skills, yards after catch solid, blocking. Yeah, we'll work on that, but he can line up in the backfield as a running back, a fullback, a wildcat quarterback. I think that he would be a really fun, unique move piece for the Vikings offense. Is he a traditional tight end? Probably not, and he probably never will be, but a really fun wild card piece. I think that would be really good to go. Lastly, so Oronda Gadsden the second. Don't really see him as a tight end. See him as a big slot. And the Vikings, as we laid out before, they did experiment with this a little bit last preseason with N'Keal Harry, but with Gadsden, obviously son of Oronda Gadsden, great receiver for Miami, just huge hands. Just monster hands, man. The pride of Syracuse, 6'5", 243, 73 catches, 934 yards receiving, 7 touchdowns last year, was a primary target for Cal McCord after he came over from Ohio State, and he's a matchup nightmare. And he's put up big numbers for 2 of his 4 years out there in Syracuse. And I think that he's not going to be your traditional tight end, a lot like Conyers. But if you have a specific role and niche for him, I think that he could be a matchup nightmare. Like, have him be your tight end 3, 4, and then just give him a fistful of snaps a game where he's matching up, where he's too big for a safety, he's too fast for a linebacker, and just go from there. It'd be really fun. Anyways, that's it. That's it. Tight end options for every single round of the NFL draft for the Minnesota Vikings. Because even though the Vikings have Hockenson as well as Oliver, tight end could be a low-key need because the cupboard is bare behind them, and also both of them are in a de facto contract year, but Oliver in a real contract year. But your thoughts are thoughts. Let us know. Comment section. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol. Production value.